Coinbase lays off staff and prepares for a very bad winter. Hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur, and before we get into the video today, we're not going to start doing this before every video. I just want to test out a new feature. I have joined a program, or YouTube has actually invited me to join a program where I can get a commission off products that are sold to you. So this is just a test. Don't worry, this is not going to happen for every video. Where I've been playing Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy Origins on the Xbox. And so I'm just putting it out here to say, A, I recommend the game, and B, if you want to buy the game through me, I will get a commission. Again, whether you do or not, I don't really care. I'm kind of really just doing this to test out the feature. Although if you want to, you can help support the channel that way. And in the future, if I talk about a product, I guess it will be linked now, and you can help me by purchasing through me. And not only does that help me, but you can do this with other YouTube creators who join the program as well. I don't know if it's going to be super intrusive. I don't know how people are going to react to that. I know people have a huge aversion to commercials and stuff like that, but the reality is, technically still unemployed, still need money, still got to do what I got to do to pay the bills, and ad revenue is drying up. And if we have Adpocalypse 3.0 because of something going on with Quantum TV and the Act Man, well, basically, I am preparing for the winter. And it appears so is Coinbase. Now, I have to be honest, I am an investor in Coinbase. Although that said, it has not been a really fruitful return on my investment. The stock is very much down, and there are some lessons about buying things at the beginning. And if my Robinhood account was logged in, I would show you what it looks like, but let's just say that I bought it around 300 and it's now trading about 50, and I did several shares, so it's not good. And it looks like it's not going to be good for a while. It's not good when the layoffs begin. And Coinbase has laid off 18% of its workforce as the executives are preparing for a recession and what they call a crypto winter. So let's look at this article from CNBC. Coinbase is laying off almost a fifth of its workforce amid a collapse in its stock and crypto prices. The cryptocurrency exchange will cut 18% of full-time jobs, according to an email sent to employees Tuesday morning. Coinbase has roughly 5,000 full-time workers, translating to a head count reduction of about 1,100 people. Shares of Coinbase closed down 0.83%, which I have to say, even though we were down a little today on the stock market, compared to the last week, it was extremely minor. CEO Brian Armstrong pointed to a possible recession and a need to manage Coinbase's burn rate and increase efficiency. He also said the company grew too quickly during a bull market. Quote, "We appear to be entering a recession after a 10-plus year economic boom. A recession could lead to another crypto winter and could last for an extended period," Armstrong said in the email, adding that past crypto winters have resulted in a significant decline in trading activity, which makes sense, especially if you're in a recession. Usually everyday people aren't buying stocks or cryptos, or they're not investing. Ironically, this is the time where you want to invest because it does eventually bounce back. But during the time, people don't see that. They just see that everything's going down. They see their dollar value going away. They see the savings going away, and they're not going to buy things like crypto. So he's probably correct in his assumption that this is not going to be pretty. Quote, "While it's hard to predict the economy or the markets, we always plan for the worst so we can operate the business through any environment." Coinbase had initially said it was pausing hiring. 2 weeks later, the crypto giant announced that it was extending the freeze for the foreseeable future. Earlier this year, Coinbase said it planned to add 2,000 jobs across product, engineering, and design. Quote, "Our employees' costs are too high to effectively manage this uncertain market. While we tried our best to get this just right, in this case, it is now clear to me that we overhired." The news came during a deep rout for Coinbase shares. The stock went public via a direct listing last April during a boom in crypto markets and investors clamoring for high-growth tech stocks. Coinbase's shares are down 79% this year. Don't remind me. And 85% from the all-time high. Meanwhile, Bitcoin has dropped to near $22,000 and has lost 53% of its value this year. It is ugly. San Francisco-based Coinbase reported a slump in users in its last quarter and a 27% decline in revenue from a year ago. The company gets the majority of its top line from transaction fees, which are closely tied to trading activity. President and Chief Operating Officer Emily Choi, I believe that's how you pronounce it, called it a very difficult decision for Coinbase, but given the economic backdrop, she said, it felt like the most prudent thing to do right now. Affected employees received a notification from Human Resources. If so, the memo was sent to a personal email as Coinbase cut off access to the company's system. Yeah, things like that are brutal. I know why they do it, but sometimes I wonder the methods of how they fire people. You just wake up and you get a personal email one day, and hey, you're no longer employed. I mean, I have to say, I have to give my last company a little bit of credit. They actually sat me down in a Zoom call, and they explained exactly why they were doing this and how sorry they were. And even though I am still not happy about it, okay, you treated me like a human being. You were man and woman enough to look at me face to face as best as you could remotely and say that I was basically losing my job. And for that reason, I did not get upset. I did not call them names. I didn't tell them what I really thought about this. It's like, well, okay, I guess it is what it is, and moved on. You know, when they send like just an email, that is so rude in my opinion. So Armstrong called this move the only practical choice given the number of employees was access to customer information and a way to, quote, ensure not even a single person made a rash decision that harmed the business or themselves. Well, here's the thing. This will probably help prevent harm to the business. As for themselves, oh, they can still do that. Whether Coinbase cares, I don't know. Coinbase employees will have access to a talent hub to find new jobs in the industry, including Coinbase Ventures portfolio companies, Coy said. Coinbase would still be doubling down on areas like security and compliance and maybe reorienting employees to near-term revenue drivers. Quote, if there are any cuts to new product areas, it's going to be more around experimental venture areas that we're still very bullish on, but that we don't want to invest in at this partner cycle. We will continue to invest in incredible innovative areas of crypto that we think are emerging over the long term, but we're probably going to do in a more measured way in this type of environment. So that's kind of, you know, and then of course Brian got on Twitter and said all these things. So here's the thing. First of all, I feel very bad for the employees that are going to be laid off from the company. Losing your job is not fun. And even though we are in a good work market right now, the recession is coming, and who knows how that's going to affect jobs. So it might not be a good job market for much longer. You never know. But concerning what we talk about here, because, you know, I've had your personal driver on this channel, and we've talked about crypto, and we've talked about this company. Does this mean crypto is a scam, and that means you should get out of it? And here's the thing. I always say, like, when it comes to crypto or anything that you're investing in, you never spend more money than you're willing to lose. Now, of course, that's a little bit easier to say when you're, like, putting 10% of your money in. It's like, yeah, I'm kind of okay with that. And then before you know it, that 10% of a fund turns into this much money, and then you're losing 50% of that fund. That can always be a little bit trickier. And some people might say, well, this is why you never invest in things like crypto or stocks, because they can always go down. Of course, my argument at that point would be, yeah, but look at the money in your savings account. It's losing value because of inflation. So really, when you look at it like that way, saving money is a riskier thing than investing it in stocks, because stocks have the chance to go up. The money in your savings has nowhere to go but down, because inflation will always hit you, and it's going to hit you a few times in your life. But here's the thing. Do I think Coinbase will ultimately be fine? Probably, but I do expect the crypto world to get extremely ugly for at least a little while. And keep in mind, this is not my first crypto meltdown. I have been through a couple crypto meltdowns where Bitcoin was just in a free fall, and it seemed like it had nowhere to go but down, like people had finally woken up. But the bottom line is people do tend to get back into this stuff, and crypto is starting to be implemented in things like video games and, casinos, and even whole nations are adopting Bitcoin as a currency. So I do think that Bitcoin will probably bounce back, and a lot of the cryptos will bounce back as well. Now, that's not a guarantee that they're all going to bounce back. In fact, my Dogecoin and millions of coins of Shiba Inu that I have, yeah, those are all in very real danger of never coming back. Thank goodness I only put about $1,000 into those ones. But yeah, the recession's starting to hit. Companies are starting to prepare, and we're just going to have to see how bad it gets. I do expect a rough winter for crypto. I think when things stabilize a little bit, people will start getting into it again because crypto's kind of fun. And if for no other reason, people love their entertainment, and so they will buy crypto. I don't know if they're going to buy it in the way that they bought it last year. Last year was, or 2020, I should say, that was kind of a unique situation where people had a bunch of money coming in because of stimulus checks, and they had nothing but time on their hands, and it was kind of fun to just watch it go up. And so when you saw it go up, you were more inclined to put more into it. Now, as for what I am doing with my crypto, and this is not financial advice, none of this is. This is just my own personal experience. And crypto is by far the most volatile of all the things you could be spending your money on. I will still buy crypto. I am not going to buy as much as I did before. In fact, I'm going to be buying much, much less. And I am not going to sell any of my current crypto. I would rather lose all of it than panic sell and then find out that 2 years down the line, it's gone crazy. I made that mistake twice. When I originally had Bitcoin and I bought a few coins for like a couple $100s because it was just going crazy, and then it like went down to 120. I sold them in a panic because it was probably too good to be true. Same thing with Netflix. I bought Netflix stock at $40 a share, and then when it got down to like 18 or something, I panicked and sold it. Obviously, I made a huge mistake, so I had to learn the hard way. Don't panic sell. But that's for me. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. If I get into a situation where I absolutely need some money to pay for a surgery for my wife or something, because my wife, she's so much fun. She's always having medical issues. She will take priority, and at that point, I will be selling crypto and stock to help. But in the meantime, I'm just holding on to my investments. I am still investing, especially since a lot of stocks now are discounts. You think I'm going to pass up buying Disney at less than $100 a share? Absolutely not. Of course I'm going to buy Disney at $100 a share. That's going to recover. But I also understand why people don't want to do that. And places like Coinbase are reading the tea leaves. They're adjusting correctly. And crypto's still the biggest question mark. And we're also going to have to see what happens, because I think the Biden administration is also going to finally be making some guidelines for crypto. And once the government has some regulations in place for crypto, I'm thinking at that point people might start feeling a little bit more comfortable in buying it. And there you go. But for people who say like, well, the government's not going to do that because they're basically doing sanctionized gambling, well, what do you think the stock market is? What do you think your 401k is? Heck, the 401k is a very interesting one, because 401ks almost abundantly work out for you in the long run. But once in a while, you will hire someone to manage your 401k who makes bad investments, and your 401k can really take a beating. Bottom line, nothing is secure. You always got to be careful. And I don't believe in stuffing money in the mattress, but you also have to be very aware of what it is you're investing in. And, you know, basically, you can't be too overly cautious, but you can't be too overly reckless either. Anyway, since this is not a financial channel, I just want to report on the news. I think the CEO of Coinbase handled this probably about as good as he could. But my question to you is, what do you think about this? Do you believe he handled it well? Do you think he handled this incorrectly? What do you say? I'd love to know. Comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe. Buy the game from me if you want to help support the channel. And as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.